Today's joint practice between the Vikings and the New England Patriots, a couple of things to point out there before I get to the main topic that I really want to talk about. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, the fifth round rookie out of Georgia. He was part of the first team defense today. That's a great sign. That tells me that this coaching staff, that they believe that he has progressed well to their liking, and who knows what the opportunities are going to be there for him this season. But that for him to practice with the first team defense, that says a lot. With that said, speaking of the defense, Drake May got a couple of big plays off. I'm not really worried about it. Against their backup quarterback, Josh Dobbs, the Vikings defense made some plays. Dwight McGlothern and Jay Ward both picked off Josh Dobbs, Jay Ward getting a pick six. So we'll see how that turns out as far as when the final rosters are set. So a couple of people making progress, turning heads. In the case of Dawkins playing with the first team, and Nudie and Jay Ward perhaps turning heads with their play today. Albeit it's against Josh Dobbs. We know who he is firsthand. And I didn't mention this after the preseason game against the Texans because I was just saying there's so many players to praise and mention and recognize that I forgot one of them. Maybe I forgot a couple more, but I should have mentioned. Sometimes after doing these videos and recording and stuff, I'm like, oh man, I forgot to mention this. I had this right on my notepad and I just didn't even bring it up. I wish I did. And that was Max Brosmer. He needs to make the roster. Max Brosmer, worst case scenario, needs to be the third string emergency quarterback. I don't need to see a damn thing more from Brett Rippon. Best case scenario, he could be your QB2. Sam Howell does have the experience and not the fake experience that Sean Mannion had over Kyle Sloter. Speaking of which, the jersey came in. Lost the bet talking about Jeff Okudah is not going to make the team. He has a guaranteed contract. He's going to be on this roster. And so I said, if Jeff Okudah makes the roster, then the very first live stream. So this will be Monday night at Chicago, that I would wear a Sean Mannion jersey and the cowboy hat. Dead ass. The jersey just came in today, and I am absolutely disgusted. Moving on from there, in today's practice, I got two clips that I want to show. And these are both from Sean Borman. I'll include his Twitter handle in the description of this video below. But the first one that I want to point out, something that stood out in today's practice versus the Patriots. The Vikings ran a screenplay, and I talked about how I was a bit disappointed in Donovan Jackson, that preseason game against the Houston Texans. He got driven back, and I said, come on, man, you got to step up. I just want to see something to feel good about. Well, we have it right here. The Vikings ran a screenplay, and in fact, I'm just going to play it. Pay attention to 64, Donovan Jackson. Now, that's a hell of a screenplay right there. Aaron Jones with the touchdown. But make no mistake about it, Donovan Jackson made his mark on that play, serving up two hot-ass plates of pancakes fresh off the skillet. In fact, let's see this again. 2 blocks, 2 pancakes in one play. Get out of here, man. Comes over from the left guard spot. Gets outside to the right. 64. Bam! And another one. Bam! Sit your ass down. The hell up out my face. That is quite the improvement, Donovan Jackson, compared to what we saw last Saturday in the preseason game against the Houston Texans. It was a bit disappointing seeing you get driven back, but I knew that you would find a way to bounce back. You're going to be a staple with this offensive line, one of the staples with this offensive line. I knew you would improve. That rep right there, holy smokes, amazing. And now the second clip that I'm going to show, and actually, just as a reminder, both of these clips comes from Sean Borman. His Twitter handle I will put in the description of this video. But the second video that I'm going, or the second clip that I'm going to show in this video, we know that wide receiver is a problem. Okay, Jordan Addison, he's going to be suspended, or he is suspended the first 3 games of the year. Jefferson is going to face all sorts of double teams. TJ Hawkinson, he's going to make plays. We know that, but we also need help, support from other wide receivers on this roster. Naturally, I would expect for Jalen Nailor to be the wide receiver 2. Here is Jalen Nailor in today's joint practice. Look at it again. Now, this looks to be an individual drill, wide receivers versus cornerbacks, one-on-one. And Nailor is doing either a 5 and out or a 7 and out. He's open. He creates separation against the defender. The ball is perfectly placed in his hands, and he drops it. That is the stuff that I'm talking about, man. Jalen Nailor had an up and down year last year, struggled with drops, and he's still struggling with drops in practice. You can't, I still believe the Vikings will go 2-1 in Addison's absence, but it's not going to be by the margin that I expect it to be as far as those 2 victories against the Bears and against the Falcons. You need to be on your P's and Q's. There is no margin for error in getting these wins if you are going to get these wins. And having your wide receiver 2 for the time being, while your wide receiver 1 is getting blanketed like hell, having your wide receiver 2 in the meantime drop passes, that's just a punch in the gut that you're going to have to rely on solely TJ Hawkinson and the run game offensively. And that's not right. Dude, I've had enough. I expect him to be the wide receiver 2, but if you're really trying to win, you cannot put Jalen Nailor out there beyond a wide receiver 3. So with that said, Lucky Jackson, sure, he looked impressive, but I think it's time, and I'm going to be a huge hypocrite by saying this because last week I was against this. I think you have to sign Amari Cooper to a 1-year deal. 1-year deal. You have $26.5 million in cap space. He can be your wide receiver 2 in the meantime. So with Jefferson and Amari Cooper and TJ Hawkinson, even without Addison, you still have 3 legit threats in the passing game. And that's before you even include Aaron Jones. You got to make it happen, because I'm telling you right now, if you end up losing one of these first 2 games because of Jalen Nailor drops, he struggled with drops last year, I don't know what I'm going to do. But you can get ahead of it right now. Amari Cooper, just a 1-year deal. You got the money to do it, just do it. That will give you the weapons that you need to get by without Addison. Dude, Jalen Nailor, there's nothing else to see here. We've been doing this for the last couple of years. Jalen Nailor this, Jalen Nailor that. He got his shot last year, and had an up and down season. And now in practice, he's dropping wide open passes. We can't do this. Sign Amari Cooper.